Have you noticed that most people live the same life every day, waiting for something magical to happen to save them? They wake up, complain, work without purpose, come home exhausted, and repeat this until they die. The most brutal truth that nobody wants to hear is this: you're probably in the same cycle. And the worst part? You know it. You feel it every day. That discomfort in your chest, that feeling that life is passing by and you're not going anywhere. Here's what will shock you. It's not your circumstances holding you back. It's not lack of money, it's not your background, it's not your past. What holds you back are the lies you believe about yourself, the excuses you use to justify your stagnation, the destructive patterns you repeat without questioning. And as long as you keep blaming the world out there, nothing will change. But what if I told you that you already have everything you need to completely transform your life? That change doesn't depend on more courses, more money, more luck. In the next few minutes, you'll discover 5 pieces of advice based on consciousness studies that challenge everything you've been taught about personal growth. These aren't pretty theories. They're uncomfortable truths that work for those who have the courage to apply them. Some will irritate you. Others will confront you. But if you watch until the end, you'll understand exactly why your life is stuck and what to do to unstick it now. The question is, are you ready to stop fooling yourself and finally face the truth? Bentov used to say that human consciousness is like an infinite vibrational field, capable of reorganizing all the reality around it. He wasn't talking about magic or superficial positive thinking. He was talking about a truth that quantum physics only began to understand decades later. The observer modifies the observed. You modify everything you touch with your attention. But most people live imprisoned in a dangerous illusion, believing that the walls surrounding them are made of concrete, of immutable circumstances, of external limitations impossible to overcome. The first piece of advice that can radically transform your life is this: decide that nothing stops you. It sounds simple, but this decision carries a power that most people never experience. These people look at their family background and conclude that their destiny is already written. They look at their skin color and decide that certain doors will never open. They observe their past and turn each failure into a self-fulfilling prophecy. Bentov spent years studying altered states of consciousness, and one of his most disturbing discoveries was this: it's not external circumstances that imprison human beings, but rather the narrative they construct about those circumstances. The story you tell yourself about who you are and what you can achieve becomes the only reality you can experience. The field of consciousness responds to your deepest belief. If you believe that certain external factors prevent you from moving forward, your own life energy organizes itself to confirm that belief. You begin to perceive only the evidence that supports your limitation. Your nervous system adjusts to ignore opportunities that contradict your narrative of inability. Your mind becomes a machine for confirming fears, not an instrument of expansion. Bentov understood that real transformation doesn't happen through repetitive affirmations or superficial self-help. It happens through a radical change in how you interpret your own existence. Deciding that nothing stops you means recognizing that you've been living under collective hypnosis. Society hands you a set of beliefs about what's possible for someone like you, and you accept those beliefs without questioning. Your family tells you who you should be. Your friends reinforce the limitations they themselves carry. The culture around you creates categories, labels, definitions that you assume are absolute truth. But Bentov knew something fundamental. These constructs are just vibrational patterns, frequencies that can be altered as soon as you awaken to the fact that you don't need to agree with them. This decision begins the exact moment you stop blaming external factors for your stagnation. This doesn't mean denying that real challenges exist, concrete obstacles, legitimate difficulties. It means recognizing that your response to these challenges defines everything. 2 people can be born in the same circumstances and have completely opposite trajectories. The difference isn't in the circumstances, but in how each interprets what's possible despite them. Bentov discovered that individuals who achieved deep states of meditation could literally reprogram their automatic responses to the world. They didn't change the world first. They changed themselves, and the world responded. Deciding that nothing stops you isn't a one-time event. It's a daily commitment to a new way of perceiving reality. Every day you'll be confronted with evidence that seems to prove you're limited. Every week voices will arise saying you don't have what it takes to move forward. But each time you choose to ignore these narratives and act as if they have no power over you, something changes in the field of your consciousness. You begin to vibrate at a different frequency, and at this new frequency, opportunities that were previously invisible begin to appear. People who could help you begin to cross your path. Ideas that previously seemed impossible begin to make sense. Bentov taught that the universe is a living organism, responsive, in constant dialogue with your consciousness. But for this dialogue to be productive, you need to change the message you're sending. If you send fear, limitation, victimization, the universe returns exactly that to you. If you decide, with every fiber of your being, that no external force can determine your destiny, you begin to access levels of creativity and power that were previously blocked. You stop being a hostage to circumstances and become a conscious architect of your reality. And this is where most people fool themselves. They think this change will happen overnight, that you just need to decide once and everything magically transforms. But true transformation is a process of continuous deconstruction and reconstruction. You need to dismantle, layer by layer, all the limiting beliefs that have been implanted in you since childhood. You need to question every story you tell about yourself, and in place of those old narratives, you need to build something new, something that reflects not who you were, but who you're choosing to become. Only then will you understand that this decision opens the way for something even deeper that needs to be transformed. A fascinating experiment used to be done at consciousness lectures. People were asked to close their eyes and remember the last time they visited their parents' house or old friend. Almost everyone reported the same sensation. They went back to behaving exactly as they were years ago, as if something in the air of that place pulled them back to an old version of themselves. The explanation is something science has only recently begun to understand. You are not an isolated entity floating in a vacuum. You are an energy field in constant interaction with all the fields around you. The second piece of advice of the 5 that can radically transform your life is this: change your environment. The people around you function as mirrors that reflect back to you who they believe you are. Your family has known you since childhood, so they continue to treat you based on the memories they have of you at 10, 15 years old. Your longtime friends have built an entire story about your capabilities, your limits, your way of being. Every time you try to grow, evolve, transform into something greater, these people unconsciously pull you back to the known pattern. They don't do this out of malice. They do it because human beings feel security in predictability. Your transformation threatens the stability of the social system in which you're all inserted. Deep studies on consciousness have revealed how energy fields intertwine. You absorb thoughts, beliefs, fears, and limitations from the people you spend time with, even without realizing it. If you spend 8 hours a day next to people who constantly complain, who live dimmed, who don't believe in anything greater, your own energy begins to adjust to resonate with that frequency. You can have all the determination in the world, but if you're immersed in a toxic environment, you're swimming against an invisible current that drains your strength every day. The biggest barrier to your progress usually isn't inside you. It's around you. It could be the relationship that keeps you small because your partner is afraid that you'll grow and leave them behind. It could be the friend group that always invites you to the same activities that keep you stagnant, that mock any attempt of yours to do something different. It could be the neighborhood where you live, where everyone has accepted mediocrity as destiny and looks with suspicion at anyone who tries to escape. Environments carry energetic memories. Places absorb the emotions, thoughts, vibrations of everyone who passes through them. If you live in a place where entire generations have given up on their dreams, that energy of resignation is impregnated in the walls, in the streets, in the air you breathe. Changing your environment isn't cowardice. It's not abandonment. It's not selfishness. It's recognizing a fundamental truth about how consciousness works. You cannot evolve in an ecosystem that was designed to keep you exactly where you are. Plants grow in fertile soil. You grow in environments that nourish your expansion, not that suffocate it. People who make radical environment changes frequently experience transformations that seem miraculous, not because the new place has something magical, but because they're finally free from the invisible chains that held them back. You need to evaluate with brutal honesty every aspect of your environment. Do your friendships elevate you or bring you down? Do your relationships inspire you to grow or ask you to remain small? Does the place where you live offer you possibilities or only mirror the same limitations you're trying to overcome? These questions are difficult because the answers frequently require courage to make painful changes. Cutting ties with people you've known for years. Ending relationships that are comfortable but don't take you anywhere. Moving cities even without guarantees that it will work out. The truth is this: you can have all the knowledge in the world, all the meditation techniques, all the spiritual wisdom, and still remain stuck if your environment actively works against you. It's like trying to meditate in a room full of people screaming. Is it possible? Technically, yes. But why would you choose this unnecessary struggle if you can simply move to a quiet place? Your environment either facilitates your evolution or makes it nearly impossible. There's no middle ground here. Every person, every place, every situation is pushing you in some direction. The question is, where are you being pushed now? The pharmaceutical industry makes billions selling the idea that you're broken and need to be fixed. Modern culture convinces you that you need more courses, more degrees, more certifications, more external tools to finally become capable. Well-intentioned therapists sometimes perpetuate the belief that you carry traumas so deep that it will take decades to recover. The third piece of advice of the 5 that can change your life challenges all of this. You already have what you need. This isn't cheap positive thinking. It's a truth about the nature of human consciousness that most people spend their entire lives without understanding. You're not an empty container waiting to be filled with external knowledge. You're not a defective machine needing medication to function properly. You are a complete system, endowed with all the necessary resources to access deep states of transformation and personal power. The problem isn't the lack of resources. The problem is that nobody taught you how to access what's already inside you. Research on altered states of consciousness has demonstrated something extraordinary. Ordinary people, without special training, can access capabilities that we normally attribute only to spiritual masters or exceptional individuals. Accelerated healing, deep mental clarity, explosive creativity, unshakable emotional strength. All of this is already encoded in your nervous system, in your biology, in the structure of your consciousness. You don't need to add anything. You just need to remove the layers of conditioning that block your access to these resources. The inconvenient truth is that nobody can save you. No therapist, no medication, no guru, no online course. These things can guide you, can offer you maps, but you make the journey alone. True success, real transformation, always comes from within. It comes from your decision to stop outsourcing your power to external sources and start cultivating the only genuine source of change, your own awakened consciousness. Many people use medications as emotional crutches, not because they clinically need them, but because they've been convinced they're incapable of regulating their own emotions. Others accumulate courses and knowledge, always searching for the next secret that will finally unlock their potential. But the secret is already with you. It always has been. Your body knows how to heal itself. Your mind knows how to solve complex problems. Your intuition knows which path to follow. The only reason you don't access these capabilities is because you've been trained to doubt yourself, to seek external validation, to believe that other people know more about you than you do yourself. Stop collecting excuses. Stop justifying your stagnation with diagnoses, with childhood traumas, with lack of opportunities. All of this may be real, but none of it defines you. You have a choice now. Continue identifying with your limitations or start identifying with your unlimited potential. Change won't happen through more information. It will happen through your decision to take total responsibility for your life, without depositing that responsibility on anyone else. Only you can do this for you, and you have everything you need to start right now. Everyone wants to change the world. Few want to change themselves. You see people fighting on social media, trying to convince strangers to think differently, investing emotional energy in discussions that lead nowhere. You see activists burning all their vitality trying to transform systems that are much bigger than they are. The fourth piece of advice of the 5 that can transform your life is direct and brutal. Control is power, and the only real control you have is over yourself. Think about it. You don't control the economy. You don't control your country's political decisions. You don't control what other people think or do. You don't control the weather, traffic, the unexpected events that arise every day. Life is essentially chaotic and unpredictable. But in the middle of all this chaos, you have an island of absolute control, your own choices. How you use your time, how you react to circumstances, which habits you cultivate, what you allow into your mind, how you treat your body. These things are completely under your command, and they're exactly the things that define the trajectory of your life. The average person wakes up without a plan, reacts to whatever appears in front of them, lets their phone dictate their attention, eats whatever they feel like, sleeps late because they lack discipline. Then they complain that life isn't going where they want. But how could life go anywhere specific if you're not in command? If you don't control your habits control you. If you don't control your time, other people will control it for you. If you don't control your attention, social media algorithms will decide what you think about all day. Control doesn't mean rigidity or neurotic perfectionism. It means having the discipline to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It means having the clarity to distinguish between what's urgent and what's important. It means cultivating the ability to delay immediate gratification in the name of bigger goals. Most people live on autopilot, being pulled by impulses, desires, distractions. They think they're living freely, but they're actually slaves to patterns they've never questioned. To impact others, you first need to impact yourself. To inspire transformation in the world, you first need to transform yourself. This isn't selfishness. It's strategy. You can't give what you don't have. You can't teach discipline if you're undisciplined. You can't inspire focus if you live scattered. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. Your power of influence in the world is directly proportional to your level of self-control. The more you master your impulses, your fears, your weaknesses, the more capacity you have to generate real impact. Your habits are the invisible architecture of your life. Every small choice you make every day is building the future you'll inhabit. Waking up early or sleeping in late. Exercising your body or letting it atrophy. Reading books or scrolling infinite feed. Cultivating deep relationships or settling for superficial interactions. These choices seem insignificant in the moment, but compounded over months and years, they become the difference between a life of purpose and a life of regret. You control these choices, nobody else, and this control is the real power you possess. Society sells you the fantasy of instant transformation. You see before and after photos, stories of people who changed their lives overnight, promises of magic formulas that will deliver everything you want in 30 days. All lies. The truth about real transformation is less glamorous, but infinitely more powerful. The fifth and final piece of advice of the 5 that can change your life is this: improve daily. Genuine transformation doesn't happen through dramatic leaps. It happens through incremental improvements so small they're barely perceptible day to day. You don't notice the difference between today and yesterday, but you notice the difference between today and 6 months ago, between today and a year ago, between today and 5 years ago. These small, consistent changes, repeated over time, generate results that seem miraculous to those observing from the outside, but that are completely predictable for those who understand how the process of real growth works. Think about any skill you've mastered. You didn't learn it in a single moment of enlightenment. You learned it through constant repetition, corrected mistakes, accumulated small adjustments. The same principle applies to your entire life. You're not going to wake up tomorrow completely transformed, but if you make small improvements every day for a year, you'll become a completely different person. The question is, do you have the patience and discipline for this process? Most people give up because they don't see immediate results. They try to change for 2 weeks, don't see big differences, and go back to old patterns. But growth doesn't work that way. Growth works through compound effect. In the first months, the changes are almost invisible. You're planting seeds, cultivating roots. Only after some time do you start to see the fruits. But the impatient person never gets there. They give up precisely at the moment when the roots were beginning to deepen. Small, consistent changes guarantee that success is always within your reach if you refuse to give up. It's not about making perfect changes. It's about making constant changes. It's not about never failing. It's about getting up every time you fail. It's not about having motivation every day. It's about having discipline even on days when motivation doesn't show up. Persistence beats talent, beats circumstances, beats almost everything, because the person who keeps moving forward, even slowly, eventually passes all those who stop. The problem is that we live in a culture of instant gratification. You want results now, solutions now, transformation now. But the most valuable things in life require time. Deep relationships take years to build. Valuable skills take years to master. Real transformation takes years to consolidate. And this isn't a defect in the process. It's the very nature of genuine growth. Everything built fast crumbles fast. Everything built slowly remains. Your task isn't to run. It's to keep walking every day without stopping, regardless of what happens around you. Which of these pieces of advice bothered you the most? The one that made you feel discomfort is probably exactly what you need to work on first. Right here in the comments, which of the 5 will you apply today? Not tomorrow, not on Monday, today. Because every day you postpone is one less day of real life you're living. Can you feel it? The weight of another lost day, another week passing without real change? Now answer me honestly. How many more years will you waste waiting for the perfect moment? How many opportunities will you let slip away because you're stuck in the same patterns? How many better versions of yourself will die before being born because you chose the comfort of stagnation? These questions hurt, but it's precisely this pain that propels you forward. If you want to continue diving into this knowledge about consciousness, transformation, and spirituality, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Because every week there's new content that will challenge you, provoke you, and push you out of your comfort zone. Change won't come looking for you. You need to go after it, and it starts now.